Welcome, everyone. Cannabis News with Joe Klare for July 26, 2018. Thanks to everybody checking out the show, whether it's video, audio, however you get the show. Thank you. Check us out at marijuanatimes.org. A bunch of great articles on there, a lot of great writers. You can also click the video tab on marijuanatimes.org to find this show. Find us on YouTube, Vimeo, and Apple Podcasts as well for the audio version. Today, we're talking about new budget estimates when it comes to drug legalization, full drug legalization. Also, new director of marijuana, the agency that oversees that in Colorado. We'll talk about her, and Representative Tim Ryan recently wrote an op-ed about legalization. We'll get to all of that. First, of course, Cannabis News is brought to you by Natureside, nature-side.com. Check out their line of organic, all-natural pesticides. Side is spelled C-I-D-E, nature-side.com. Grow safe and poison-free. Don't use harmful chemicals on your grow. Don't use harmful pesticides. And, of course, be regulatory compliant in the state that you are growing in. You can do all of these things with nature-side.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. Go check them out today or tomorrow if you don't have time tonight, or today or whatever. Do it later. Just check them out. If you need organic, all-natural pesticides, well, that's the place to go. So go check them out. nature-side.com. This first story from marijuanatimes.org by yours truly. New report estimates the budgetary effects of drug legalization. Again, as I said, we're talking about full drug legalization. Jeffrey Myron, the director of economic studies at the Cato Institute, which is a libertarian-ish think tank, attempts to estimate how much positive impact nationwide drug legalization would have on federal and state budgets. He did similar research and published a similar paper back in 2010. This is a bit of an update on that. According to the report, quote, drawing on the most recent available data, this bulletin estimates the fiscal windfall that would be achieved through drug legalization. All told, drug legalization can generate up to $106.7 billion in annual budgetary gains for federal, state, and local governments. Those gains would come from two primary sources: decreases in drug enforcement spending and increases in tax revenue. Bulletin estimates state and local governments spend about $29 billion on drug prohibition annually. The federal government spends an additional $18 billion. Meanwhile, full drug legalization would yield $19 billion in state and local tax revenue and $39 billion in federal tax revenue per year. As I point out in the, we can go check out the whole article. It's linked in the description of this video, as always. All the articles are and all the stories I talk about. One of the problems, I've talked about this before, but it's one of my main themes. One of the problems with the way cannabis legalization is being framed is that it should be done because of law enforcement savings, or it should be done because of tax revenue, or it should be done because less minorities would be arrested as opposed to white people being arrested. And those are the two things, by the way. They're close one and second. When I see legalization, the reasons for legalization, these is what people are using. A bunch of tax revenue, saving money, saving resources. Tax revenue, of course, goes money for schools and et cetera, and social justice reasons. And those two things are great. If one of your goals is to increase tax revenue, then marijuana legalization is for you. If one of your goals is social justice and less people being arrested, less minorities being arrested, then marijuana legalization is for you. If you want money for schools, if you want law enforcement to focus on other things, if you want prices to drop enough to cut cartels out of the business, all those things. If you want all those things, if you want any of those things, marijuana legalization is for you. But none of those things are the reason to legalize. They are positive side effects. They are positive byproducts. They are positive direct effects, whatever you want to call it. However you want to frame that, that's fine. They're all positive effects of legalization. But the reason marijuana should be legal to grow, sell, and buy is because those people are not infringing on the rights of anyone else and therefore are not criminals. If you're not infringing on someone's rights, if there's no victims, and like I've said before, society is not a victim. You can't say society is a victim because then you can say that for anything. That can be justified to close down McDonald's, take away people's cars, all sorts of things. If society is a victim. Society is not a victim. Individuals are victims. Unless you show me an individual victim of someone growing a marijuana plant or smoking a joint in their house, then it's not a crime. That's why marijuana should be legal. Marijuana should not be considered a crime because no one is having their rights infringed upon. Everything else, great. And the same thing goes with drug legalization. If you're, if people who are smoking heroin in their house, they're not infringing on anyone's rights. They can say, well, they're more likely to do this in the future. Again, is that a door you want to open? Predicting the future crimes of drug users? The logic behind marijuana legalization is the same as the logic behind every other drug legalization. It's not working. Prohibition doesn't work. And like I said, nobody's rights are being infringed. You can't cross that line. If they infringe on someone's rights after doing heroin, well then, I don't know, charge them extra. I don't care, really. Once they've committed the crime of infringing on someone else's rights, they're criminals. But until then, they're not. So in any case, $106 billion a year, great. So whoop-de-doo. It's fantastic. More tax revenue that can be blown and wasted on things. That's fantastic. If that's your thing, that's great. Jump on board. Everybody jump on board. Marijuana legalization. Lots of great positive effects from marijuana legalization. But the reason to legalize marijuana or drugs, period, is no one's rights are being infringed upon. I know some people are saying, what if, a parent is doing heroin and they're watching their kid and their kid gets injured? Well, someone's rights have been infringed upon. If they drink a bunch of alcohol and go punch somebody in the face, you don't ban alcohol. But once they punch somebody in the face, well, charge them, prosecute them. They've infringed on someone's rights. That's assault. That's a violent crime. The same if a parent gets drunk and beats their children. It's a violent crime. Sticking a heroin needle in your arm is not. Whatever you may think about it on a moral level, something I would never do, something I've never done, something that has never even occurred to me. I've had opportunities to do all kinds of drugs. It just never occurred to me. They say, you want to try this? I say, no. No, I don't. I'll smoke this joint over here. I'll be fine. Do what you're going to do. That's cool. Snort stuff, shoot stuff, whatever. I don't care. As long as you're not infringing on my rights, that's fine. And this notion that, well, they're more likely to infringe on your rights, well, you say that about a lot of things. And again, that can be just used as justification to make a lot of things illegal. You can't try to predict future crime, and you can't say society is a victim. Neither of those things are true. If you disagree with me, tell me why in the comments. Bring it. You bring it. Because I will bring it. And then both of us will bring it, and both of it will be brought. And there you go. This next story is from KRDO.com. A new Colorado Director of Marijuana Coordination talks about her priorities for the industry. If you want to check out that video, you can click the link in the description of this video, and also check out the story as well. Oh, I was just about to start it, and it scrolled down. Scrolled down on me by itself. How dare you? Colorado has a new director. I'm yelling at my laptop. Colorado is a new director of marijuana coordination. She's been on the job for about a week, and now KRDO's News Channel 13 is the first local station to hear from her about her plans. Like I said, you can go see that interview. The story's linked in the description. Dominique Mendiola said her priorities for her time as director of marijuana coordination for Colorado are twofold. Her first is addressing the marijuana black market. She specifically mentioned illegal home grows, hoping to offer even more help over and above the new plant count limit that went into effect on January 1st, 2018. She said, we do see an opportunity to continue to work with local law enforcement, understand what additional challenges that they're facing, and identify ways to work with local law enforcement and equip them. She also wants to work on data collection and understands the impact of marijuana, to understand the impact of legal marijuana on crime, health, safety, and more. She said there's always a need to continue to expand on this data collection to allow us to understand what the impacts are, and in particular be able to understand what the negative consequences are so we can allocate resources to mitigate those consequences. So a new sheriff in town, marijuana coordination in Colorado, as they say. It's got to be an exciting job. I mean, as far as, a bureaucratic job can be exciting, I would say. If any of them were going to be something new, something, fresh, something hip, as the kids say, and be director of marijuana coordination in Colorado. This last story from CNN.com. Representative Tim Ryan says marijuana should be legal in all 50 states. Tim Ryan is Democrat and the U.S. Representative for Ohio's 13th Congressional District. With this op-ed for CNN. Again, if you want to read the whole thing, is linked in the description of this video. He said the year Donald Trump was elected president, more Americans were arrested for marijuana possession than for all violent crimes combined. Moreover, the ACLU found that even though African Americans use marijuana at similar rates to white Americans, they're almost 4 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana possession. Against the social justice aspect we talked about earlier. He says is co-chair of the House Addiction Treatment and Recovery Caucus. What? There's so many things. I don't know. There's so many caucuses and committees and subcommittees and adjacent committees and just all kinds of things going on in Congress. It's crazy. So there's a House Addiction Treatment and Recovery Caucus, and he is co-chair. After meeting with countless Ohio families and youth whose lives have been irreparably harmed by a marijuana arrest, I find the social and economic injustices of our marijuana policies too big to ignore. Say marijuana should be legal in all 50 states. Across the country, 9 states and the District of Columbia have passed laws legalizing marijuana. Voters in Michigan and Oklahoma will be voting on marijuana initiatives this November, and efforts are underway in Missouri, Arizona, Nebraska, and Utah to get legalization initiatives on the ballot. Actually, Oklahoma, as far as recreational marijuana, is not a done deal yet. Missouri will be on the ballot. Arizona, the people attempting recreational legalization in Arizona did not get enough signatures. Not sure about Nebraska, and Utah will vote on medical marijuana in November. Just a little housekeeping. Since like I said, I follow most of these things. Although I don't know what's going on in Nebraska. I haven't seen the news about Nebraska. Am I missing something? Do I have a Nebraska blind spot when it comes to cannabis news? Hey, Nebraska people, leave stuff in the comments. Let me know. Let me know what's going on. I've completely missed the hotbed of activism in Nebraska and what's going on. So anyway, like I said, you can go check that out. I mean, I don't have to really go in depth to how. I talk a lot about normalization, mainstreaming of cannabis, and having this guy. He's a co-chair of a recovery addiction caucus in Congress, but he's a U.S. representative. He's writing op-eds on CNN about why marijuana should be legal in all 50 states. They've been unheard of even 10 years ago, absolutely unheard of, and now it's just one other thing, one other chink in the armor of prohibition. And, before long, the armor is no longer armor. It's fallen apart. It is broken armor, I guess. Is that the phrase? I don't know. Thanks, everybody, for checking out the show. Keep spreading the word about cannabis, spreading the truth about cannabis with the show. Click the video tab at marijuanatimes.org. Subscribe on YouTube. Click that little notification bell to be advised when we get a new episode of Cannabis News up on YouTube. MakeCannabisGreatAgain.com. Get the swag. Go check it out. Portion of the proceeds goes to fighting for legalization. Thank you to NatureSide, nature-side.com, and the organic all-natural pesticides for being a proud sponsor of the show. Thank you all for listening, liking, sharing, commenting on the videos. Please continue to do so. Continue to check out the show. We'll see you next time right here on Cannabis News.